Hi, what I'm going to show you today is how I fixed my Samsung SMH9187W microwave from having the SE error. So here you can see that the microwave is currently working and looks pretty good after having the fix already performed. Start off by unplugging the microwave up at the top. Most of these microwaves have a top port up at where you can unplug the power to the microwave. And the next step you want to do is actually up on top is to remove the two screws that are up here, and then carefully remove the plastic covering over the top. Okay, I have removed the screws. I am now going to remove the top panel. What you want to do is hold on to it firmly, pull it left so that it clicks, and then pull it out and open the door to loosen it and allow it to come free from the backing. See that this screw has now been removed. To remove the control panel, simply lift up and out, and as you twist it you can start to see the wires that are behind here. This is the main reason why we unplug the microwave before working on it. Next, I'm going to go in and actually remove all of the wires from the circuit board. They're very easy to remove. Just be careful to make sure you take a note of where they go for when you're putting it back together. So here is what the controller board looks like whenever the wires have been removed. The next step is to remove the circuit board and the connection to the touchpad. The next thing you want to do is to remove the ribbon cable. You loosen the ribbon cable by pulling up on this white connector, and then reach in and pull up on the ribbon. That comes out. Several people have suggested cleaning off this ribbon cable as a way of fixing the problem. I did do that, and it worked probably for a day or two, but then stopped working. That kind of led me to believe that it was all a part of the control pad, and that led me to finding a solution for fixing the problem I was having. So I'm now going to remove the circuit board by removing the screws here, here, here. There's another screw over on this side behind the ribbon cable, just here. The circuit board has now been removed, and you can see that the support housing down here is attached to the plastic housing through these little clips that are, see if I can turn the light on, that are here. There's 4 of them on each side, here, on this side, here, and here. And what you'll need to do is actually bend the metal a little bit to allow the release of that metal housing. You can see now that the metal housing has been removed, and you can also see the part number that's listed on the touchpad. You can get that same touchpad replacement part from Sears Direct. That's how I found out that replacement touchpad would only be about $35, which let me be brave enough to try to attempt this fix. The next step that I did was actually turning this whole unit over and removing the touchpad from the exterior of the plastic housing. You can see how it's not a smooth ripple anymore whenever the light is reflected on it. That's because I have removed it and then replaced it. what I found after removing the exterior part of the paneling here was that the glue that had been coated on the bottom of the surface seemed to be very uneven, and that's what I believe was causing the sensor error on the touchpad. Here you can see the covering of the touchpad after it has been removed and the details of what is going on underneath that touchpad. I labeled certain items in order to test it out to try to find out if the touchpad itself was having an error or if there was something that was involved in the covering that was giving the problem. And ultimately what I found out from removing it and replacing it was that there's a metal shielding that was installed on the back end of this covering. That and some glue that was left over on the covering. I believe that those two things were the culprits in causing that SE error. You can see some of the remnants of the foil that was on the exterior of this covering. That was actually connected to the back end of the touchpad and connected these two together like this. So there was actually some removal of the touchpad covering in that process, and that was one of the reasons why I had marked down here to make sure that the touchpad would still work after I had removed the foil. So after removing the foil and disconnecting it and verifying that everything was working correctly, I carefully placed the ribbon cables back into their holes, placed the cover back on, and made it sit down correctly with a little bit of extra glue only around the edges instead of all the way around, and not covering up the number pads. I really believe that it was the glue in combination with the foil on the backing of this cosmetic feature here that covers up the touchpad screen that caused the SE error to begin with. The reason for opening it up to this level is that it gives you better access to the ribbon cables. It also gives you the part numbers for replacement parts in case you have any problems, and you can buy them for relatively inexpensive cost if you find that you need to replace something because something didn't work. Here you can see that I've put the control panel back together and put it back into place. I now just need to put a screw back into here, put the mounting panel back on, and the two screws up at the top here and here again, and then I'm ready to try it out and make sure that everything is working still. And now I'm going to plug it in again. Set the clock. And you can see that the microwave is now working, and it has been working now for at least 2 weeks since I originally performed the fix, and I have not yet had a problem with it since. You can see that the pad itself is still sticking fairly well to the outside here. One of the things that I did before putting it back on was actually treat it with some Goo Gone to take away any of the excess glue. And you can also see that all of the buttons are working correctly and that the microwave itself is coming on and it seems to be working. We've used it throughout the last 2 weeks and everything seems to be working just fine. I hope you've enjoyed this demonstration. It's my first YouTube video, and I hope your fix goes well.